Thank you, Atmisha. Hariom Patrick. Without wasting time, let me start today's class. The transliteration and the PDF provided in the top link is not having the portion which I'm going to cover today and maybe Friday or no, next Monday, next Wednesday, if it is not over today. Because I'm going to take the original commentary of Shankaracharya before starting the second chapter. And there is a dialogue between him and an opponent. Some say it is his student, some say it is an opponent. In either case, we have a dialogue between the Shankaracharya and the other person who is not agreeing with what Shankaracharya has commented upon. So let us look into that, because I am taking it that not as part of the Aitareya Upanishad, but as part of a requirement which I felt it is necessary for a clear understanding how Shankaracharya sees non-dual philosophy in the midst of the story of creation, which is narrated in the first chapter, subsections 1, 2 and 3. And also how this he has explained much better than how he has explained it in the Brihadaranya related to this portion of what you call the drishta or the seer and the hearer, the thinker, etc. So that is why I felt that this will help those who are listening to me and listening to the recording, will have a preamble of what is to come in Brihadaranya. That is why I am taking this. So I'll be reading the Sanskrit and then explaining that with my own translation of what Shankaracharya has written. So without wasting time, I'm starting today's session. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashikritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmatacharya Paryandam Vande Guruparambaram Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Mantram. Om Vang me manasi pratishtita Mano me vachi pratishtitam Aviravirmayedi Vedasya ma anistaha Shrutam me ma prahasihi Anenadhitena ahoratran santatami Vritam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu mam Avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, in the previous class, we concluded the third section of this first chapter. There, the 13th mantra, Sajato Bhutanya Abhivyaktet Kimahanyam Vavadisham Didi Sa etameva purusham brahma tatatam apashyat idam darshanam iti. So what is in the concluding statement, the penultimate statement where the Maharishi says is that he who has been born as a jiva through this process of creation of both macrocosmic and microcosmic being identical in nature, from the Prajapati Virat to the individual or the lowest in the ladder, we found that tat drishtva tadeva anupravishat. He having created has entered. He himself enters this, entered into the creation, whether it is the Prajapati or Hiranyagarbha Prajapati or every creation in the world. So having born as the Jiva now, he realized the elements as one of himself. That means he has now, having entered the creation, he has now realized that the entire creation is his own and he himself has become multiple or multitude in nature. So from that Atmava idameva agra asid nanyat kinjana mishat. That was the beginning. The Atma alone existed, or that Brahman or Atman was the only thing which existed. Na kinjana mishat. There was no movement or nothing to move even a bat of an eyelid. So that being the situation, now he is seeing the multiplicity, including himself, entrapped in it, or as if he is entrapped in it. So he realizes that the elements which he has created is nothing but has come from him. That means for us also, when we look into it, this body, what we say that in the process, the Upanishads have told that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not this thing, I am not that thing, I am not the world. Everything neti, neti, neti has been told. But in reality, everything is him only or that only. So this realization can come only when one realizes that what is my true nature. And when one realizes that what is his true nature, he realizes that all these elements which is seen as separate from me are nothing but the same from which my nature is being now perceived by me. That is where, when the statement Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma comes to reality, or the Chandogya Upanishad 7th chapter statement of Na Anyat Prasyadi, Na Anyat Shrunodi, Na Anyat Vijanati, or the Bhagavad Gita, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. All those texts, all those scriptures have shown that everything what is seen in this world is nothing but that one truth. We are making the separation and distinction between one another and saying that I am this and this is mine and rest are not mine. In fact, when you are everything, how can anything be mine? The word mine can come only when it is separate from you. But when it is not separate from you, how can you say that this house is mine, this body is mine, or anything like that? No. You can say in the transactional world, Rama can say the cow is his because Rama is different, cow is different. So he can say cow is his. But in our case, now when we realize our nature and when we see that there is no distinction, whatsoever between everything what we see in the realm of name and form is nothing but that one truth, which is my truth and the truth of everything. So he realized the elements as one of himself. What else here would one desire to speak about? Now, in this situation, he perceived this very person as all-pervading Brahman. Only at that moment, when you know who you are or what is your real nature, you will realize, or we will realize, that all that which is being perceived by us, every experience, every object in experience, and every subject in experience is nothing but one all-pervading Brahman. And he said, aha, I've seen it. That such a person who has realization only can be called Idandra. Idandra means Idamdara. One I have saw this. One who has seen this. This is how the previous portion has ended. Now comes the portion which I am going to deal with Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. It's the introduction to the second chapter. So what he says is that Jagad Utpatti Sthiti Pralaya Krit Asamsari Sarvajnah Sarvashaktihi Sarvavit Sarvam Idam Jagat Swataha Anyat Vastuandaram Anupadaya Eva Akashadikramena Srishtva Swatma Prabodhanartham Sarvani cha Pranadi Matam Pranadimat Sharirani Swayam Pravivesha. Swayam Pravivesha. So what is that? Jagat Utpatti Sthiti Pralaya Krit. Pralaya Krit, that Krit means one who does it. Jagat Krit, one who created the world. And not only did he create Jagat Krit, Utpatti Sthiti Pralaya. The Utpatti means creation, Sthiti means sustenance, and Pralaya means dissolution. So not only did he create the world, he maintains the world, and he is also the dissolute. He is the one who dissolves the world. Now here, the world, the Jagat. The word Jagat has got a very important meaning here. I am deviating slightly from the English translation, so you may not find this in the English translation, but I am explaining the words here of Shankaracharya so that you have a clearer understanding of what it is. So Jagat means one that keeps changing. Jagati. What is changing? Everything in the world by nature is not static or constant. The only thing what is constant or static in the whole world is the knower of the world. Only when you have a static or a constant, you can measure the changes of the other. So the Jagat Utpatti Sthiti Pralaya means the creation, dissolution and the sustenance in between of a ever-changing world. Jagat Utpatti, and Krit means one who created that. He is Brahma. He is the Brahman which we are talking about. And what is his nature? Asamsari. Samsaram means the mundane world with all the problems and happiness and sorrow of ever-changing nature. Samsarati is another term for Jagat or movement. So asamsari means without changes. So the changeless creator Brahman, asamsari, he is Sarvajnah. Sarvatnya means Sarvan Janati iti Sarvatnya. He is the one who knows everything. How does he know everything? When everything is there, he is knowing everything means it is not like that in today we cannot say there is a Sarvatnya. What does the word Sarvatnya means? Sarvam Janati. Knowing everything. Now knowing everything, you cannot know anything unless you become that thing. Suppose if you say that you know your son, it is not possible because you know him as your son and all his qualities and everything. You may bring in so many adjectives and descriptions about your son, but becoming your son is different from knowing your son. So when you want to say that I know my son, you have to really know your son by being your son, your own son. Being in his shoes or in his very nature. The way he sees you, the way he sees the world, the way he sees his mother, exactly you should be knowing. Then only you can say you know your son. So here the term Sarvatnya means he is a person or that is a person. The Brahman is that one which knows everything. How does he know everything? Because he became everything. It is the Brahman which has become the nut and bolt of this universe, the sand and the cream of the universe, or the water and the air of the universe, or everything in this universe is nothing but him or that. So he knows, not only that he knows it by knowing them as a knower, but he is knowing them by being them. So he is not only Asamsari, he is also Sarvajnaha. Then Sarvashaktihi. When he has become everything, the potential of each of them is his own. So from the atom to the atmosphere in which everything is sustained is his, means all the powers and potencies of that is nothing but his or its. Then Sarvavit, another term which is used to denote Brahman is Sarvavit. This is a term which is very similar to Sarvajna. Sarvavit, Brahmavit, Brahmaiva Bhavati. In that you have heard that one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. Now, when in the Sarvajnaha, he became everything, thereby he knew everything. Now here, Sarvavit is the reverse of it. Being present in everything, he became the source for everything. So Sarvavit is from that point of view, he became the source of everything. Sarvam idam jagat means everything, what we call it as idam, means this. In the world, in jagat, swataha anyat vastvandaram anupadaya. Swataha means by himself or itself. In other terms, anyat means in other terms, vastvandaram anupadaya. Vastvandaram, there is no material cause other than itself. Therefore, vastvandaram anupadaya means without taking anything other than itself, because there is nothing other than itself. Atmava idam eva ekaha agre asit. In that beginning statement. So there was only Atma here. So there was no material cause. We can consider him to be the intelligent cause. But there is no material cause for producing. A potter can produce a pot other than him because the material mud is available for him to make the pot. Now, a situation where he is all by himself, na kinjana mishat, there is no material other than him, so there is no material cause which he can take to create, to produce something other than himself or itself. Sorry, I am using the word himself, itself in the equal meaning. So those who are preferring to use a neuter gender can use itself. Sometimes by mistake I use his himself. It doesn't mean he's a masculine nature. So keep that in mind. So vastvandaram anupadaya, without taking any material cause, eva akashadi kramena srishtva, creating from the akasha, from the space in which everything has to be existing. That is akasha. Akasha means avakasha, the place for existence. Not only his existence, but he also created the place for existence. That is called akasha. Having created srushtua, swa atma prabodhanartham. This is a very important term which Shankaracharya has used. Similar terms he is also using in the coming statements also. Swa atma prabodhanartham. Swa means of its own. Atma means self. Prabodhanartham means to know its, to know. Prabodhanam means to realize. To realize one's own self. Because the question comes, why did he have to do that when he is all by himself? He has created so many things out of himself and become the world. And now why do you have to do all this drama by himself? From the drama we saw from the Hiranyagarbha to the Manushya or the creation, Purusha. Everything he has created. Why did he have to create? So Acharya says here, Acharya means Shankaracharya says there, Swa Atma Prabodhanartham, for realizing one's own self. This is not that he has become separate from the world to realize it. He has become every grain of that world, and every grain is trying to realize its own self. That is the purpose of the creation. You and I are supposed to know our real self. Just as you and I are supposed to know our real self, the grain, the tree, the animals, the birds, everything is living or moving in this world for the purpose of realizing its own self. That is why Swa Atma Prabodhanartham Sarvani cha pranadimat. That is Sarvani pranadimat means from the prana. We saw the creation in the previous Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, that it is the prana which has become everything. So Sarvani Sharirani. Here Sharirani is another word which is being used. Pranadimat. Endorsed or endorsed with prana. Means prana has become everything in the creation. Which from everything from the Adi Devika, Adi Baudika and Adhyatma. So everything has become with prana. So prana is present in the vital organs in the human beings, living beings. It is present as prana in the inert and insentient also. But they don't have the tools and equipments to present themselves in the insentient beings. That is why we call them Jada. Actually speaking, we cannot call that as separately from us. Okay. So pranadimat sharirani swayam pravishya. Now this is another important word. Swayam pravivesha, having entered in everything by itself. In every grain of creation, Swayam pravivesha. So, Sat Drishtva Sadevanu Pravishyat. That is being told in another Sanskrit words that here, that having created everything in this world, Swayam Pravivesha, it is become part of that creation as itself is what is appearing as the objects of the world. Now the second sentence is Pravishya cha swam atmanam yadabhudam idam brahmasmi iti sakshat pratyabudhyate. Now this is referring to the 13th sentence which I just explained before starting this commentary. Pravishya means after having entered. Cha also swa atmanam, one's own self as an object. Atmanam is in the second case. Yada bhudam, just as created in the idam, means in each of those creations there is a self, not only in human beings. Every atom of creation has got a self in it. Swayam atmanam yadha bhudam idam, in the form of this. Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. That Brahman from, or Atman, from where everything has been created, is Aham. That's Atma. Now Swa Atmanam as Brahmasmi. Now the Atma and Brahma is being identified by this statement, that Atma is not different from Brahma. So Pravishya cha Swa Atmanam yada bhudam idam Brahmasmi iti sakshat prabudhyate. Sakshat, immediate, without any intermediaries, without even a tool to know, or without even having any need of an intermediary or intermediary activity or intermediary process, one can realize. That is why sakshat prabudhyate, the word is used. The sakshat prabudhyate means one can realize within oneself as your own self, my own self. What? Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Brahman. That myself is the Brahman. So Aham Brahmasmi is the realization, and that is the purpose of creation. The creation was not for the enjoyment or by way of, Leela, Nyaya or anything. It is for realizing its own self. When there was nothing else, he was all by himself. He needed to appear as many things and enter all of them, and to realize that everything is myself. So this process of Aham Brahmasmi is only when it becomes Brahma. Brahma means Brihatvat Brahma. When it was all alone by itself, it was Atma. That is why Atmava idam eva eka agre asit. It was in the nature of Atma. When I am all by myself, I can only say my Atma, or I am the Atma. But I have to have an experience of Aham Brahmasmi. I should have Brihat. There should be the universe in the multiple form and realize that I am the same in everything. That I am the one which is not different in the Tom, Dick and Harry, the sand, the grain, the span, the tree, the grapefruit, the animal, the bird, everything I am myself. Only when I have that experience, I can tell that Aham Brahmasmi. Because the word Brahma means Brihatvad Brahma. Brahma Hasmi, I am the Brihat, or I am in everything. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. All these experience that Yatrana Anyat Pasyat, Anyat Shrunot, Anyat Vijanat, where I don't see anything other than me, where I don't see anything, hear anything other than me, I do not know anything other than me. That experience can happen only when I have everything in there. That Sarvatvam, that Sarvam Idam Jagat Vastvantaram Anupadaya Aham Brahmasmi Idi Sakshat Prabudyate. That is the time when I have the Bodham, Prabodham or Prabudhyate. That Vishesha Jnanam or special knowledge. All other knowledge is not. This is the only Sakshat that is immediate realization. I can't call it as a knowledge also. It is the immediate realization that I am everything. Tasmad, therefore, Saha Eva, that Atma, Saha Eva alone, Sarva Sharireshu, Eka Eva Atma, Na Anyaha iti. Therefore, that one Atma in every body, Sarva Sharireshu, in every body, Eka Eva Atma Na Anya. There is no other than that Atma which is there in everybody. This is the opening sentence of this commentary which Shankaracharya has made. So you can imagine what is the clarity with which Acharya is established in himself when he has to write a sentence of this nature. Only one who has realized that can fluently, without any need of any extra adjectives or anything to explain that, unambiguously write a single statement which he links the Atma, which was the beginning of the Upanishad, to the every creation of the first chapter, all the three sections put together, every creation included and present in that every creation. That Aham Brahmasmi Idam Sakshat Prabudyate. That knowledge of immediate knowledge that I am the Brahman, Atman in everything. Na Anyaha. Therefore, there is nobody else, nobody called Sarvatnya, so Ishvara separate, or Srishtikarta separate, or, Nirguna separate, or Saguna separate. The word Nirguna and Saguna is all for the purpose of creating the God and Ishvara and all this. All those things are just debunked here by when he making this statement that Ekameva Atma na Anyaha iti. Now, to make this statement, he is not making a statement by himself. He is now taking the support of Upanishads because he wants to prove that those who are believing in the Vedas and Upanishad are accepting Upanishad as an authenticity for the statements. So he is quoting now Upanishad to support his statement. Anyo api means not only I am making this statement, even the Upanishad, the Shruti is also making the statement. Sama Atma Brahmasmi Ityevam Vidyat. This is the Kaushatiki Upanishad, for which Shankaracharya has not written a commentary, but he quotes this sentence from the Kaushatiki Upanishad, which is another Upanishad of the Rig Veda. Like the Aitareya Upanishad, I told you, only the Aitareya Upanishad has been commented by Shankaracharya. But Kaushatiki Upanishad is another Upanishad which is in the Rig Veda, which has not been written, commentary has not been written. In the chapter 3, section 1, Sutra, Mantra number 8 is this, where this is appearing. Sama Atma Brahma Asmi iti evam vidyat. You should know that your Atma, Sa Atma, Mama Atma, my Atma, Brahmasmi iti eva. In this way, you should know that your Atma is Brahma, is what the Kaushatiki Upanishad is saying. Then he is going to quote two sentences from Aitareya Upanishad, which is also Rigveda Upanishad. Atma va idam eka eva agre asid, the first statement of this Upanishad, which I have explained in detail. Brahma Tadam, that is in the first section, chapter 3rd section, 13th one, which I just explained before starting today's class. It is there, Brahma Tatam. This vast expanse is Brahman. I knew Brahman as this vast expanse. That is what the statement is there in the Upanishad. So when he said that, he realized Aham Brahmasmi as his own nature, that Atma and Brahma are not different from one another. Iti cha uktam. It is this way in the Upanishad it has been told, and I have also explained in my commentaries above. Now, when he makes this statement, the opponent or the Purvapakshi is asking a question. Anyatra cha sarvagatasya sarvatmanaha balagramatram api apravishtam nasti iti katam simanam vidarya prapadhyate pipilika iva sushiram. It's a question he is asking. Anyatra, in the same Upanishad, in another place where it has, where in other Upanishads also, Sarvagatasya Sarvatmanaha. Now, Sarvagatasya Sarvatmanaha, that means this Sarvatman, which is also considered Sarvagatam, Balagra Matram Api. That is, he is being referred as the edge, a tip of a hair, as the, minutest portion. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. It is the minute of the minutest. Mahato Mahiyan is the larger than the largest. In another Upanishad, he is referred as the tip of a hair follicle. Api apravishtam nasti iti katam simanam vidarya. Now, he has entered. Katam. How did he enter? Simanam vidarya. Through the tip of the crown of the head. In this Upanishad, we explained that. He entered the body through the tip of the crown and Simanam Vidarya. having made the soft spot in the tip of the head, the skull, Simanam Vidarya, he entered in this thing. So he is asking, did he enter Pipilika Iva Sushiram? Is it that he entered this human body like an ant entering in the burrow, in the hole of a burrow? Did he enter this? He is now considered to be as small as the tip of a hair follicle. So did he enter this body like a ant entering a hole? Is the question which the opponent is asking. So Shankaracharya is really losing his cool here. And he is ridiculing the questioner, saying that Nanu alpamidam chodyam. You have asked a very insignificant or incongruous question. When there are much bigger questions in the same Upanishad which you can ask, why are you taking only this insignificant aspect of his entrance through the Srimanam Vidarya, through the opening of the skull? There are so many other places where you have contradiction in this one, or where you can ask Bahucha Atra Chodidavyam. There are many other questions which you could have asked. Why are you asking this insignificant question, everyone? Akaranaha san ikshata. Akarana means without any tools. So we said that here he did it. Vastvandaram anupadaya means he didn't use any material cause is the statement which Shankaracharya made. So the question also should be asked, what was the tools for that? If he has created this world without any vastvandaram or any material cause, there should have been at least some tools which he would have used for creating this world. So you should have asked, San ikshada, sa ikshada bahusyam prachayati, o sa hai iksha lokan srujayati. That is a statement there in the first sentence, first mantra itself. He created this world. Sa ikshata lokan srujayati. Let me create this world is the word statement. So akaranaha mean without any tools or without any organs. He thinks or he thinks when he suppose if he is the word ikshada, if you take it as thinking, then he didn't have mind, etc. as a tool to think about it. So you should think akaranaha means without tools or without instruments or without organs. If it is creation, then tools. If it is thought or, imagined or projected, mental projection, then it is mind. So akaranaha sanikshata. Anupadaya kinchit lokanusrachata. Without any material being taken for the creation, he has created this world. You could have asked this question. He could have asked that without any organ, how did he create? You went and just asked one small question that is a tip of an follicle. This is being told in some Upanishad. And did he enter like a ant through the head? Adbhya purusham samudratya murchayat. Tasya abhidhanat mughadi nirbhinnam mughadibhyaha cha agnadibhyaya lokapalaha. Now the lokapala creation time, he has created from the water, purusham, samudradi murchat. So he has been created from the heat of the water and he became a solid body. Is that how it was explained? Tasya abhidhanat. So from the meditation, mughadi nirbhinnam, mughadibhya, cha agnibhyadaya. So from the face, creating from the fire, etc., through the mouth, he created the Lokapala. That is how the description was there in the second section of the first chapter. Tesham cha ashanayadibhya samyojanam tad Ayatana Prarthanam Tadartam Gavadi Pradarsanam Teshancha Yada Ayadana Praveshanam Srishtasya Annasya Palayanam Vagadibhi Tad Jigradi Jagrachedi Etat Sarvam Sima Vidarana Pravesha Samameva. Now he is giving a list of things. Teshamcha. For Tesham means here the Lokapalas within the creation serving. Ashanayadi Samyojanam. Adding that hunger and thirst, Ashanaya Adi means Ashana Pipasa. Both of them is be added into the creation. And Ayatana Prayarthanam, that this Ashanaya and Pipasa, that hunger and thirst, asking for their abode. That is another place where he could have asked a question. Tadartam, for showing that Gavadi Pradarsanam, he is showing a cow, he is showing a horse, then he is showing a human being. Gavadi Pradarsanam. All those in Teshamcha, Yada, Ayadana Praveshanam, and after that entering that body of Purusha. Srishtasya, Annasya, Palayanam. Then the annam which has been created runs away from when the wok is used, it runs away. When the tok is being used, as the skin is used, it runs away from the skin. All those things, palayanam, annasya palayanam, srishtasya annasya palayanam, vagadibhihi tad jigritshati. By from the word to Jigrashadi, from the smell, from the nostrils, everything. Etat sarvam Sima Vidarana Praveshana Samameva. All of them are like what you are asked for, that, that the ant entering the crown, or the whole of the crown, and like an ant entering. It is similar to that. So, ridiculing him, he said, you could have asked much more serious questions than asking a simple, silly question. Astu tarhi sarvameva idam anuvapannam. Okay, so be it. Then reject all these which are incoherent. Then you don't answer me all those things which are astu tarhi. So now Shankaracharya goes into a long description, saying that all these examples which you took one, I gave you hundreds of them, which is there in these examples of the Upanishad. I am saying that they are all not out of place. All of them are questions worthy of asking. But you should understand them in the context with which you should asking. Here, there is one important aspect before I go to for the Friday's explanation. There is Vivakshita Artham. Vivakshitam means apparent. Any statement has got two meanings. One is the apparent meaning as you read the first time. What meaning is apparent to you is called Vivakshitartham. And there is also what you call Pratiyamana Artham. Pratiyamana Artham is which is not Vivakshitam, means what is being intended to speak. Pratiyamanam is apparent. Sorry, I made a mistake. Pratiyamanam is apparent. Vivakshitam is what is intended meaning. So there are two meanings, two statements of Upanishad that is not being understood by people who are reading the Shastra. they will go by the Pratiyamana Artham. Pratiyamana means apparent meaning, and that is why they are now going to the meanings of the Srishtikarta separate and this creation as dualistic, and even the Kannada or the logicians who have gone into the Anu, even the Sankhya philosophers who have gone into the Purusha, Prakriti, etc. All of them have gone by the Pratiyamana Artham. What is to be understood is there is a Vivakshita which is a intended meaning of the Upanishads. These intended meanings are to be understood before we go further into the explanation. So none of your questions are out of place. But if you are asking with the apparent meaning, like this ant entering a hole, did he enter through the skull, the crown of the head? Then that is a apparent meaning what you are referring to. All the places which I have given as an example. If you really want to know, I will tell you what is the Vivakshitartham, what is the intended meaning of the Upanishad. That I will explain to you. It is that what he starts with the stating, no, there is no fault of yours. Atra atma avabodha matrasya vivakshitatvat sarvaha ayam arthavadha itya adoshaha. I'll explain this and the sentences coming after this in the next class, in the Friday's class. Plus understand that now onwards is what Shankaracharya is going to give, that what is the intended meaning or the pregnant meaning in the statements of the Upanishad, which he has been able to identify and others have not seen it. Therefore, it is not an arthavada. Artha means eulogy or in praise of something which doesn't carry any meaning, just for praising for the purpose. It is not for praising purpose. They have got intended meaning which should be understood, because Atma va iktam eva eka agre asit. It was very clear when the statement was made that Atma alone existed in the beginning. And when in the 13th statement says the Brahma tatam, he realized Brahman in everything. Aham Brahmasmi realization happened. These two has to be connected. If you cannot connect it, then you will go by the apparent meaning. If you connect this, then only you will know the intended meaning or what the pregnant meaning in the Upanishadic statements are there. I'll explain to you that by step is what Acharya is saying. So we will see that in the Friday's message. I'm stopping here. Om Vangme manasi pratishtita mano me vachi pratishthitam avirmayedi vedasya ma anistaha shrutam me ma prahasihi anenadhitena horatran sandadami ridam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram Om Shanti 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 Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.